Next topic is locale handling. So just like anything else in Spring MVC, it is in fact an interface and implementations. So it is the interface is called the locale resolver, and so in order to resolve locale, locale resolver implementation should be configured. You can also actually have an interceptor for changing locale, so that users sometimes want to change the locale, right? So we want to provide an interceptor that intercepts some kind of request parameter, and that request parameter will specify what locale they want to use. So that is something that could be supported as well as an optional feature. So locale resolver interface basically lets you resolve messages using the client locale. Okay. So what happens is that when a request comes in, Spring MVC framework, in this case dispatcher servlet, looks for locale resolver, whether any locale resolver is in fact configured, and if it finds one, it tries to use it to set the locale. So Spring provides multiple locale resolver implementation classes. So accept header locale resolver, which is the default, and cookie locale resolver, or session locale resolver. So these are the implementations that are provided by Spring Framework, and you can pick and choose one of these, the locale resolver implementation. Okay, you can also call get locale method from request context object to find out what locale is in fact was resolved into. So let's talk about each of these locale resolver implementation. The first one is accept header locale resolver implementation. Basically, this locale resolver is used to inspect accept language header in the request that was sent by the client. Okay, so if accept language header is set to a particular locale, that will be the one that is used to respond with the whatever locale messages. Okay. Usually this header field contains locale of the client operating system, so this is usually set by the client operating system into the browser. And if you do not configure your own locale resolver, Spring will use this locale resolver as a default. So accept header locale resolver is used as a default in most cases. Cookie locale resolver and session locale resolver, as their names implies, the first one, cookie locale resolver, is based on cookie. The session locale resolver is based on session. So cookie locale resolver basically inspects a cookie. So instead of inspecting accept language header, cookie locale resolver will inspect a cookie that comes from the client, and it will try to find the name of the cookie, item, and basically these are the things you could set. So you can specify the name of the cookie as well as maximum age. Session locale resolver is recommended to be used when you happen to have a session anyway. All right. So you certainly do not want to create HTTP session for the purpose of performing locale resolving. But if you already have a session object that is created for other reasons, then you could use session locale resolver. Okay. So session may optionally contain associated time zone attribute as well. Alternatively, you can specify default time zone as well. Okay, so this is the an example code for configuring session locale resolver object. So we created session locale resolver object, and we are going to set default locale. We are going to actually call the set default locale method with the locale object. In this case, DEDE. So it's German. Okay. Oh, okay, so that is how we can configure locale resolver. optionally, as I said, you could provide an interceptor so that a user can change the locale through the URL. So, on the URL, they might actually send a request parameter or something like this. So if the user say locale equal DE underscore DE or just DE, it's basically an indication from the client. The client wants to set the locale to DE. Okay. So Spring provides this locale interceptor implementation class called locale change interceptor. So it's a matter of actually registering this interceptor into interceptor registry, and then user should be able to send this the request parameter to change the locale. This is an optional feature. Okay, so this is how you are going to configure. So basically we have we create a locale change intercept object, and here you set the parameter name. So parameter name in this case we set to locale, so that's the reason client can actually send the locale request parameter, and you return locale change interceptor object, and this needs to be registered as well to interceptor registry, as we have learned yesterday, right? So this is just creating interceptor object, but we have not registered. Okay, so let's do exercise 2. So let's take a look at exercise 2. So here, when you run this application, we should be able to select a different locale, right? So you have US English, and this is German British. I'm sorry, not German British. Great Britain English, and this is the Espanol, the Spanish, and this is German. If you click this guy, you can see the data is being changed with the that Spanish language. So let's actually run it rather than looking at the lab documentation. So basics locale. So stop the server and select locale application, run as Java application, and main application, click OK. Okay, see deployed. Let's go over here, go to the root. So this is this is what you are going to see as a default. It's using it's actually using yeah, so it's actually German. So let's actually try Spanish. This is German. Oh, this is German. Initially I think it says the locale is D, but yeah. Oh yeah, that's not, it doesn't reflect these guys. US. Okay, US English, and this is a British English, and this is Italian. Okay, so you can see whenever I click this guy, it's actually sending locale equal ITIT right here. Okay, and let's take a look at the controller example. So if I click controller example again, this is reflecting the locale that I've chosen. So this is Italy is sending euro. So if I choose US, and it's using $sign and %sign and things like that. This is the Great Britain, so yeah, it's using pound. Okay, and the Spanish is using euro, and Germany is using euro as well, and Italy is using euro. So Italy, I think they have this euro sign front of the number. Okay, so it's reflecting the locale based on the selection you have. So let's see the code. So first of all, let's see the configuration. So if you take a look at the configuration, this is the this is a controller, so I want to actually see the configuration class. Yeah, so this is the configuration class. So this is an example where we configured messages. Okay, right? So we have seen example of this one already, and this is the interceptor, locale interceptor, right? Okay, and this is the locale resolver. So in this case, we are using session locale resolver. Okay, so as long as this session is being used, it works. Okay, And here we are registering this interceptor, right? Okay, so that is a configuration. Other than that, things are working, as expected. And we can see my messages directory should contain all the messages in, German, Spanish, Great Britain, and Italy. And this is the English version of it. Okay. So these are message properties file in English. This is the German version of it, and this is the Spanish version of it. Okay. And so here we're actually using Spring, the Spring version of message tag. Okay, so we are specifying the welcome title. So welcome title is coming from that message file based on locale. Okay, and the same thing with the welcome title. And we specify locale page context response locale. So this is a locale that is coming from the page context. Okay, and then we have URL. This URL will be intercepted by interceptor to change the locale. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So for your exercise, I want you to add support of your own country, and if you're resident in one of the 4 countries, then support French as a new language. Okay, so I'll give you guys maybe 5 minutes to try this exercise too.